everyone, welcome to my monthly manga wrap up for the month of October. So I'm just going to be talking about what volumes of manga I read this month and what I thought of them. So first up we have Fruits Basket volumes 10, volume 11 and volume 12. So these volumes are the last ones in the series. I read them all back to back because it was just so good. I really liked seeing the conclusion of the story. So these volumes cover the conclusion of the story. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil the ending for anybody, but basically it covers the end of the Fruits Basket story and it's fantastic. I do have a full review of Fruits Basket up on my channel that I will put a card up in the corner for. I highly recommend the series, but yeah. So I read those. Something else I also read this month was Blue Flag, volumes 1 and 2. Sorry, got to hold them quite far back from the camera. So, if you didn't see my pickup video where I explained what this is, basically, this girl over here has a crush on this guy, and so she asks his friend here to help her figure out how to get in with him. But then he starts to develop feelings for her. He has a crush on somebody, but he doesn't know who it is. So after reading the first couple volumes, I can say that this is a love square. So the person that he actually has a crush on is his friend. She also has a friend who is a female who has a crush on her as well. So it's basically a love square with LGBT representation throughout. I've really enjoyed these volumes. I actually read the first 3 chapters on the Shonen Jump app for free. And I really needed more, and I don't like to buy digital, so I ordered them off Amazon and they came. But volume 2 ends with a cliffhanger. Lucky me. So I had to go and order volume 3 because I couldn't leave it at what it was. So, but I've really enjoyed this series so far. I'm going to do a first impressions very soon for this series. It's only a short one though. I think it's only 8 volumes in total. But I'm really enjoying reading it. I like the art. I like that it's like a high school. I like high school stories and high school romances, but I like that this isn't marketed as a shoujo. I just like to see a different way of going about it, and the volumes are very nice. I also read volumes 1 and 2 of the Gentleman's Alliance Cross. I have had these volumes for ages, but I only just finished collecting all of the series because there were a couple of volumes that were getting pretty hard for me to find. I don't think that this is out of print. I think it's just that it's old and they're not reprinted as often as they used to be. So I'm going to do a first impressions of this as well. But basically, this girl goes to an elite private school and she has a crush on this guy who is the emperor of the school. So like the head of the student council, basically. He's very rich and she's not. She lives with an adopted family because her family actually sold her. Yeah, sold her. You heard that right. But it's been interesting so far. I'll do a first impressions where I explain the story a bit better. But I've enjoyed it so far. It's actually made me quite curious about Arina Tanemura's other works. I know that she's written a lot of things and I'm quite like her art style as well. So if you've read any of her other works, let me know if they're worth getting. But these are pretty good so far. Next thing I read is volume 7 and 8 of Kiss Him Not Me. I really like this series. It's the first series I ever bought for myself. I haven't finished it yet, unfortunately. I'm still missing a couple volumes, but I'm enjoying it. So these volumes, finally, these volumes are starting to get into manga-only content that wasn't in the anime, which is great. So I really enjoyed that. You get to see Sedinuma's dad in one of these volumes. I think it's in volume 8. You see her dad, who's like a spy or something like that, or like a federal agent or something. It's really weird, but he seems to be a bad one because he can't investigate the boys very well. Yeah, it's not a serious manga at all, even though I said her dad's a spy or whatever. It's really not a serious manga. It's a comedy about a girl who's a fujoshi who has always been sort of like an outcast because she was sort of heavy and a bit of a dork. She lost some weight and then all these boys started flocking around her, but she can't hide the fact that she's a fujoshi and they have to learn to accept her the way that she is if they want to go out with her. And yeah, I've watched the anime, it was good, but she didn't actually pick a guy at the end, but I heard that she does pick someone in the manga, which is why I wanted to get it. but I'm enjoying reading it. I like the comedy, and I just think it's a nice way to relax is to read these, which is why I've read a couple of them. It's just, yeah, I just find it relaxing to read. And, you know, this is probably a better volume to show it off. Cute anime boys for the win. Next thing I read was Black Butler Volume 29. Not enough people sing Black Butler's praises. I love Black Butler. I'm thinking about doing a review of Black Butler just for how I think it's been so far. Obviously, it's not finished. It's still an ongoing series, but I really like it. So Black Butler is about the earl's, a young earl named Ciel and his demon butler, Sebastian. And just, it's hard to explain exactly what the story is about because it's has arcs, so each arc follows a different sort of story. But the overarching story is that when Ciel was younger, he was kidnapped by someone burned his house down, and his parents died in the fire. He was then kidnapped by a group of men who were part of, I think, a human trafficking ring. They then used him in a ritual that summoned the demon Sebastian, but the demon was interested in having Ciel's soul. So Ciel made a deal with Sebastian to help him get revenge on the people who killed his parents in exchange for his soul when he's done. It's really good series. The art is fantastic. Although the art doesn't look like this, quite like this good at the beginning of the series, it just gets better and better as it goes on. This volume in particular focused on Mei Rin and this person at the front, whose name I can't remember for some reason. They're in the countryside investigating something for Ciel in the most recent arc. I can't say much about the arc because it's a massive, massive spoiler. So for how this arc actually started, so I can't really say too much about that, but I've really enjoyed it. I'm sorry if I'm not explaining these very well and what's happening in each volume. I don't want to give away spoilers for series because some people might want to be fully surprised going into something and not really want anything more than what the story is about. And I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. I'm sort of just making this video just to show what I have been reading. So if anyone wants to talk about any of the stuff I'm reading, or if they're reading the same thing at the same time, we can sort of discuss. Also, people can give me suggestions for things that are like the things that I'm reading and enjoying. And also to hold myself accountable and make sure that I am going to keep up with reading. Yeah. So I'm sorry if I'm not explaining them very well. If you have any tips or suggestions for how I could make these videos better or more entertaining, let me know. I'm really open to suggestions. I'm very new to video making, so just let me know. I also read Komi Can't Communicate Volume 2. This is another one that I think is quite relaxing and comedic. I have social anxiety, so I feel Komi in a really real way. I completely understand all the situations she gets herself into, and I understand how it feels to not be able to talk, no matter how much you might actually want to say something, and it just not work. But it's done in panels, not like a full coma, but just, yeah, I'm not really sure how to explain. Just in panels that, and they're quite short. Each chapter is very short. Each book has like 10 or 12 chapters, I think, because they're quite short. They're just little stories and interactions that she has with her friends, and it's good. I'm really glad to see that she is starting to get friends and seeing how her character is progressing and how she's interacting with others as it goes on, and I can't wait to see how this progresses for her. Next thing I read was Cardcaptor Sakura Volume 1. I've had this volume for a very long time. It's the Kodansha Bilingual Comics Edition. I got this in an op shop. I don't know if you call them that in other countries. It's like a secondhand store. I got it at a secondhand store, I want to say maybe 3 years ago, when I was visiting some of my boyfriend's family. Yeah. But I found this, and I just thought, oh, cool, it's in English and in Japanese. So even though I wasn't that interested in reading Cardcaptor Sakura, I decided to buy it, because it was only a couple dollars, if I recall, and so I bought it. And I've had it sitting on the shelf and haven't read it, and I'm not really sure why I didn't read it. I'm sorry. I just knocked my book off the table. But yeah, so I decided to give it a read. I had always sort of been under the impression that Cardcaptor Sakura was like a kid's thing, because it used to be on a kids TV channel back when I was a kid, like the anime. So I'd always just assumed it was a kid story. I still sort of feel like it's a bit more kid oriented even after reading the manga, but the first volume. But I did enjoy it, and the art is really nice. Clamp has beautiful artworks. I haven't really read any Clamp, but I am interested, which is why I read this. But I've also read the preview of Chobits online, and that seems like it would be good. I'm not really sure. If anyone out there has read Chobits, please let me know. I don't have a lot of friends in real life who, well, I don't have a lot of friends, period. But I also don't have a lot of people in my life that are into anime and manga. So I don't really have anyone I can ask and be like, oh, well, have you read this? Is it any good? So, yeah. But if you've read Chobits, let me know if it's any good. Because I noticed that they're bringing out omnibus editions of it at the moment. Like the hardcovers. And they look really nice. The art looks nice. And I liked the preview that I read. It seems kind of funny. So, let me know. But this was also good. But I'm not sure if I should continue. Because the only in-print versions of it are collector's editions from Kodansha, which are quite expensive. But yeah, let me know if you think it's worth continuing though, because I am interested. The next thing is Yona of the Dawn, volumes 2 and 3. I read these back to back. It was so good. This story is very compelling. So in these volumes, in the volume 2, Yona heads out. She escapes the king. She escaped the sorry. She escaped the castle with Hark. And they go to the, I think it's the Air Kingdom, where Hark is originally from. And get some advice from his, I think it's his grandfather, is it? Yeah, I think he calls him grandfather, but he's not actually. He adopted him. Just to see what they should do now. Yona ends up starting a journey to go and find a priest who can then tell her how she should go about getting her kingdom back from Suwon. So she goes to find the priest. He tells her that she needs to find the 4 dragons. And so they head out on a journey to find the 4 dragons of legend who will be able to help her get her kingdom back and lend her power. They do meet up with... They do get an idea of where to go and to find the first one in volume 3. But I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. But all in all, this series is really good so far. I'm so glad I picked it up, and I'm definitely going to be getting more. It's very compelling. You just can't stop reading once you start. And the last 2 things I read this month are things you might wonder why you haven't seen in any of my haul videos, and they are The Ancient Magus Bride, Volume 1, and Tagami Bachi, Volume 1. So what happened was, I had seen a video from Geeky Dreams where she had her partner buy her manga, and I thought that sounded like such a good idea. So I floated the idea with my partner that we should buy each other a couple volumes of manga each. So he was like, yeah, that's a great idea. So we did that. And then I was like, okay, and they arrived, and I said, okay, when would you like to film the video together? He said, what do you mean? I said, I was going to make it into a video. And he said, oh, I didn't know that. I thought you just wanted to do it for fun. I don't want to be on camera. So, yeah, so that's why, there isn't a video of that. But these were 2 of the ones he bought me. He also got me the Quintessential Quintuplets Volume 1, but I haven't read it yet. And in case you're wondering what I got him Hell's Paradise Volume 1, which he's read and said that he liked. 20th Century Boys Perfect Edition Volume 1, which he hasn't read yet. And Spy Family Volume 1, which he hasn't read yet. Although I must admit, I'm kind of interested to read Spy Family. I've read the first chapter of Spy Family, again, on the Shonen Jump app. So I am interested in borrowing that volume and reading it myself. But as for these ones, The Ancient Magus Bride is about this girl, Chisei, who sells herself at an auction because she just has given up on life and she doesn't care what happens to her anymore. And she is bought by this Magus who wants to make her her apprentice and his bride. It's very interesting. I'm getting more and more into the fantasy genre, what with Yona of the Dawn and this, and I'm just really liking these fantasy stories with like mythical creatures and yeah, and stuff like that. Just these fantasy action things. But she quickly learns that the world of magic is much scarier than she thought it was. It was a really good volume. There's a few different parts to it. Like each chapter sort of covers a different sort of part of the story. But it's really good seeing where it's going. And the art is lovely. And the colours and everything. Although I'm not sure why, but these volumes from 7 Seas are just ever so slightly smaller than other manga volumes, and I'm not sure why, and it bugs me a little bit, but but other than that, but they are very well made, these volumes. They feel very nice to me. I don't know, but I really enjoyed this first volume, enough so that I'm planning to get more. I'm going to do a first impressions of this, just like with everything I read, but yeah, I've enjoyed it. I'm not really sure how else I can explain the story. I'm sorry, but yeah, the manga interests me. And I'm interested to find out more about how all this magic stuff works. I know that there are supplement volumes, and I will be collecting those when I sort of get up to them. I think the first supplement volume covers the first 3 volumes, and then the next one covers the next 3 after that. I think I looked it up and that's what it said. I'm not sure. But it's just a really interesting world, and there's so many interesting creatures, even just on the cover. Like that thing. I don't know what that is. Or this thing down here, I'm not really sure what that is either. All these little things in the pot. I love mythical creatures and stuff like that, so I think that's why I'm really taken with this volume. So yeah, I'm interested to read more, and it's an interesting story. And finally, Tagami Bachi Volume 1. As I said, I read this one this month. My partner gave it to me. I was a little hesitant when he gave this to me, although the one I'm most hesitant about is the quintessential quintuplets. I'm not sure why though, but I do really like the way that the art looks. But back to this, I like the art of this. It's quite shonen-esque. It's, I want to say sharp, but I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know if other people know what I mean when I say that, but it is about letter bees. So letter bees are, so they live in this amber ground. They live in amber ground, which is basically set up into 3 rings: the inner ring, the outer ring, and then the cities outside of that. And you can only go into the area in which you live, basically, and you can't travel between them except for the letter bees. The letter bees deliver letters, which are which they call people's hearts. They say people put their hearts into letters and they deliver them. So the story starts off with this letter bee who has to deliver a package, who is this boy. He delivers him out to a town, and then he decides that he's going to become a letter bee one day, just like the guy that delivered him to his aunt. And at the end of the volume, you see that he's got an interview to become a letter bee, but then he comes across a girl who is being sent as a letter, but can't be sent because the form is incomplete. So because he's not a letter bee yet, he decides that he's going to deliver her, because the letter bees can't. And that sparks his adventure to deliver this girl and to get to his interview in time, because he wants to reunite with him, who saved him. Sorry, I'm having a hard time remembering. Their names are... Jeez, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Gaish Swade? Yeah, I'm sorry. And Lag Seeing. So Gauch is the older one who found the boy, and Lag Seeing is the one who is the boy who is trying to become a letter bee. I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard time with their names. I wasn't really sure even when reading it how I'm supposed to pronounce them. The art is fantastic though. I must say, I love this place is also in perpetual night, so the further you go away from the artificial sun that is at the capital, the darker it gets. So the further you, yeah. So that's what this would be. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at explaining things, but the art is lovely. And I'm going to be doing a first impressions on this as well. So that's everything I read this month. I read quite a bit this month, as you can see. Way more than I usually would, but I was on semester break at the start. Oh, there's my setup. I was on semester break from my studies at the start, and that's how I ended up being able to read so much. If you've stuck around to the end of this video, well done. I just realized how much I've recorded, and I apologize for making it so long. If you have any suggestions on how to make these videos more interesting or better, let me know. I'm really open to suggestions. I'm still very new at this. Sorry, that's still in the way. Yeah, and if you have any suggestions for things that you think I should read based on the things I've been reading, let me know down below as well. I'm always open to anime and manga suggestions. I hadn't read any anime this month, which is why I haven't said it here, but yeah, I've enjoyed making this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it at least a little bit. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!